This is the Epoch Times.
Welcome to Epoch Audio, showcasing the best journalism covering news, culture, and society, addressing issues overlooked or avoided by other media. For the text version of this and more articles providing truth, tradition, and hope, please go to theepochtimes.com.
Unprecedented in human history. Five Eyes intelligence chiefs sound alarm on China's technology theft. By Aaron Pan. Intelligence chiefs from the Five Eyes alliance warned that Communist China's espionage operations, including theft of intellectual property and technology and other trade secrets, pose significant threats to the West and is unprecedented in human history. In an interview with CBS News 60 Minutes on October 22nd, the intelligence leaders from the Five Eyes alliance shared their concerns about the Chinese Communist Party's, or the CCP's, threats, what it means to democracies, as well as the message they want to send to Beijing. The Five Eyes alliance was founded after World War II as an intelligence alliance comprising Australia, Canada, the United Kingdom, the United States, and New Zealand. FBI Director Christopher Wray said the Chinese regime is the defining threat of this generation. There is no country that presents a broader, more comprehensive threat to our ideas, our innovation, our economic security, and ultimately our national security. The FBI chief said that the CCP's spying operations could be seen in many fields, including agriculture, aviation, biotech, healthcare, robotics, and academic research. Furthermore, Beijing's tech theft is not limited to big businesses like Fortune 100 companies, but extends to smaller startup firms. Mr. Wray said, "We probably have somewhere in the order of 2,000 active investigations that are just related to the Chinese government's effort to steal information." Unprecedented in human history. The Chinese regime deploys many tools for its espionage operations, including hacking. Mr. Wray said the CCP has the biggest hacking program in the world by far, bigger than every other major nation combined, stolen more of our personal and corporate data than every nation, big or small, combined. In September, the State Department revealed that hackers linked to the CCP have secretly breached thousands of email accounts in U.S. government agencies, affecting officials such as Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo, U.S. Ambassador to China Nicholas Burns, and Assistant Secretary of State for East Asia Daniel Crittenbrink. Mike Burgess, the director of the Australian Security Intelligence Organization, emphasized that the scale of the CCP's espionage efforts is unprecedented. He said, "All countries spy. Our countries spy. All governments have a need to be covertly informed. All countries seek strategic advantage. But the behavior we're talking about here goes well beyond traditional espionage. This scale of the theft is unprecedented in human history, and that's why we're calling it out." Canadian Intelligence Chief David Vignol told 60 Minutes about the national security risks associated with Chinese companies purchasing land on properties near sensitive and strategic areas in Canada for spying operations. Mr. Wray said Chinese businesses have also attempted to acquire businesses, land, infrastructure in the United States in a way that presents national security concerns. In 2022, U.S. officials sounded the alarm when a Chinese agriculture company and its subsidiary Fufeng USA, which has ties to the CCP, bought hundreds of acres of farmland in Grand Forks, North Dakota, near Grand Forks Air Force Base. Since 2016, Guanghui Energy Co. Limited, owned by Chinese billionaire Sun Guangxin, who is reportedly connected to the CCP, reportedly began purchasing up to 140,000 acres of farmland in the border town of Del Rio, next to Lawlin Air Force Base. The company stated that it would use the land to build wind turbines. According to Ken McCallum, the Director General of the UK's intelligence agency MI5, theft by the CCP occurs through various means. Employees of companies targeted by Chinese spies are frequently manipulated without their knowledge. Mr. McCallum said, "We have seen, for example, the use of professional networking sites to reach out in sort of masked, disguised ways to people in the UK, either who have security clearance or who are working in interesting areas of technology." He added, "We've now seen over 20,000 examples of that kind of disguised approach to people in the UK who have information that the Chinese state wishes to get its hands on." Transnational repression. The intelligence chiefs said that the CCP's threat is not just spy campaigns but also involves targeting Chinese dissidents living overseas. Mr. Wray cited an example of the CCP's effort to intimidate and suppress a U.S. congressional candidate who criticized Beijing. He said the efforts were initially to try to see if they could come up with dirt on the candidate to derail his candidacy, and then to try to concoct dirt, just fiction, about the candidate. And then if that didn't work, there was even discussion about the candidate befalling a horrible accident. That was the case of Xiong Yan, a U.S. Army veteran and congressional hopeful in New York City who was targeted by the CCP in March last year when he sought the Democratic nomination to run for Congress representing a district in Long Island. He had long been a target of the CCP for his participation as a student leader in the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests, and for his later support of pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong. The Justice Department has charged an alleged Chinese agent who contracted a private investigator in New York to manufacture a political scandal in the hopes of undermining the congressional campaign of Mr. Xiong. Failing that, Mr. Lin encouraged the private investigator to physically harm Mr. Xiong by either beating him or forcing him into a car accident. Mr. Wray also brought up the CCP's Operation Fox Hunt, which is aimed at pursuing dissidents abroad through tactics involving harassment, intimidation, or threats to their family members in China, intending to coerce the return of these individuals to China for prosecution. In June this year, a federal court in Brooklyn convicted 3 individuals for intimidating a New Jersey family and pressuring them to return to China on behalf of the CCP. Threat to our way of life. Amid the increasing concern over the CCP's technology theft, senior intelligence officials from the Five Eyes Alliance convened in California on October 17th. They held discussions with 15 Silicon Valley executives and Stanford University to address the imminent threat posed by the Chinese regime, with the aim of safeguarding the intellectual property of their respective companies. Mr. Wray warned the Chinese espionage program is a threat to our way of life in a number of ways. The first is that when people talk about stealing innovation or intellectual property, that's not just a Wall Street problem. That's a Main Street problem. That means American jobs, American families, American livelihoods, and the same thing for every one of our 5 countries directly impacted by that theft. It's not some abstract concept. It has flesh and blood, kitchen table consequences. Mr. Wray has a message to the Chinese regime that if it wants to, quote, be a great nation, it's time for them to start acting like one, unquote. Thank you for listening to Epoch Audio. That was Unprecedented in Human History, Five Eyes Intelligence Chief's Sound Alarm on China's Technology Theft. Written by Aaron Penn. Read to you by Chris Rod. Andrew Thornbrook contributed to this report.
For more Epoch Times articles in text, please visit theepochtimes.com.
This is the Epoch Times.